I used to struggle with severe procrastination for the first 25 years of my life. And only when I discovered the two kind of weird habits I'm going to tell you about in this video did I finally turn my life around. Let's get started. Habit number 1 is the 3-second rule. Now, the problem with procrastination for many people is that the more time they have to think about what it is they are about to do, the less likely it is that they actually take action. And that's because the more you think about, the more daunting and kind of difficult it seems to be. So the biggest antidote to this problem is taking action. You see, the mistake many people make is that they wait for motivation before they take action, because many times they just don't feel like it. But the truth is, very often action actually is a predecessor of motivation and not the other way around. And here is where the 3-second rule comes into play. Now, this rule is all about making yourself take action before you have too much time to think about it. Here is how it goes. Whenever you are about to do something, you just count down from 3 to 1 and then say go, and then actually take action. So we can do this live right now. It works like this: 3, 2, 1, go. And you take action. That's it. That's the technique. And I know it sounds kind of weird and simple, but that's actually the genius behind this technique. Now, what this does is it forces you to take action as soon as possible. Because once you are taking action, you build momentum, which helps you to actually get going. And B, you prevent yourself from telling yourself these negative stories that are typically in your head about difficult or uncomfortable tasks. And I have to say, as weird and as simplistic this whole thing sounds, it really helped me a lot in my life. Just because one of the biggest problems I always had was that I was constantly overthinking what I was about to do, which actually kept me from taking action. Now, does this mean that I never procrastinate? Obviously not. There actually are some occasions when I still struggle with procrastination, and that's where the second weird habit I discovered comes into play. I call it break it down. Now, one big problem that many people have when they are procrastinating is that they don't know where to start, especially when they are overwhelmed by the vastness or the complexity of the task in front of them. And you probably know that yourself. The more difficult a task seems to be, the more daunting it feels, and the more reasons you find not to do it at all. And many times you're so overwhelmed by it that you don't actually know where to start. So habit number 2 basically is all about breaking the big tasks in front of you down into smaller, more manageable tasks. So this is what I do whenever I have to tackle a huge problem or a difficult task and I find myself procrastinating on it. I grab a pen and a piece of paper, I write the task on top of the paper, and then I try to divide this bigger task into smaller, more manageable subtasks or chunks. So for example, when I make a YouTube video like this one, there are a lot of steps involved in here. And when I just set out to make a YouTube video, that's such a complex thing that it can get kind of over my head and I feel like lost. So I basically procrastinate instead of starting out. But when I break YouTube videos down into smaller subtasks, it's way easier to tackle them by themselves. For example, I first set out to think about a video idea and a title and a thumbnail. And then I write a script, and later on I then sit down to film right now, and the next step would be to edit it, and so on and so forth. So I would write down every single step and focus on just this one step, and when I still feel like I'm overwhelmed by it, I can break it down even further. Another area of life where I actually implement this is household chores. For example, when I'm cleaning up the kitchen, it's a task that can take 20 to 30 minutes sometimes, and obviously something most people don't particularly enjoy. So whenever I am about to do this, I set out to break the task down into smaller sub-steps. So for this one, I don't actually write them down because I have them in my head, but I start out with getting the dishes out of the dishwasher. That's step 1. And after that, I can focus on cleaning the sink. And then I might tidy up the kitchen table, for example. Things like this. It just helps to be able to focus on one small task because this feels way more manageable and less overwhelming as well. And once you've broken down these bigger tasks in front of you, it also gives you kind of a sense of control. You know what it is you are about to do. It gives you clarity, and the more clear you are about what it is you have to do, the easier it usually is to actually get it done. Now, one more reason why you procrastinate might be that you spend too much time on your phone. So I made this video for you where I talk about how I reduced my screen time from about 4 hours every single day to less than 30 minutes. Enjoy and have a nice day.